My favorite memory of a time in Apex, there's like 27 years worth of memory. So let me think. I would probably say the most recent of the fireworks. I think the fireworks in Apex the first year was just incredible. I just love that, like, the town coming together and everyone was just like so excited for this thing we had never done. And then I just love the 4th of July anyways, because it's just so cute. You know, you've got the kids on the bikes and they decorate their bikes and the fireworks and people are grilling out, and that was just a really special thing. And my dad, I remember looking over at my dad and he just looked like, my mom and I were joking, he looked like this little boy that was just so excited that his dream came true of having fireworks in his hometown. So I'd say that was probably my favorite memory. Important memory of my time in Apex would have to be, I'm biased, but when my dad, the mayor of Apex, was sworn in December of 2019, I think it was just really meaningful because it was like his love for the town is now being represented in a new way. He got to operate in a new way. I've always watched him throughout my life of serving the community with everything he had in him. When he was a police officer, I remember growing up and there'd be people calling him at 11 p.m., 2 a.m., and he would always be there, answer the phone, go do whatever it is that they needed him to do. And so it was really neat to see the community recognize him in this new way and him stepping into this new role. And then I think in addition to that, we didn't know, but we were going into a very unprecedented time. A month after he got sworn in, we went into COVID and then the civil unrest. And I think what a lot of people didn't get to see was the behind the scenes of that and how much he really bared the weight of that on his shoulders, of he loves this community so much, and how to navigate in those spaces is something we all had never done. But then he was doing it as something he had never done, a baby mayor, as I like to call it. And so it was really just neat to see his compassion and empathy come out in those ways, but it was also really hard because, you know, it's your dad, and so you love him so much, and, you know, he wants to do the best, and you're seeing the headlines of things that aren't true, or, you know, people have their own take of not agreeing with decisions that he's making, when in reality he was just doing the best he could with what he knew at the time. And so that's probably a really impactful moment. I think we bound together as a family really tightly. You got to see the community show up for each other in ways they hadn't before. And so I think just that beginning phase of him being the mayor, from being sworn in to probably 2020, 2021, was probably my favorite important memory. Apex will always be home. I had the privilege of growing up here. My dad grew up here. My grandparents grew up here. And so when I think of it, I just think of the memories as a little kid. I remember playing in my neighborhood with my best friend named Kelly, and we would do, you know, dance routines and ride our scooters and meet up at the little green electric box with all the friends. And so that's what I think of when I'm here, just that really safe, comforting feeling. I've lived in 2 other places for very brief times, and it's never felt like home. It's never had that feeling of seeing the people you know in the store and just feeling so welcome and safe, I think, is the word I feel. Like right when you go home to your parents' house, you just feel safe. It's like where you can be you, and that's how I feel like when I'm here. That's where my family is. That's where I've made the most impactful memories. I've gotten to go to school here. I've gotten to create Juneteenth here. I've gotten to watch my dad do what he does here. And so I think it will always be home no matter what. This will always be where I come back to and feel safe. My hopes for Apex's potential would have to be, I would love to see Apex embrace the fusion of the small town feel, but also embracing the future. I think when we think of Apex and we think of, we want to keep the small town feel, and I wholeheartedly agree, but I also love what surrounding areas are doing it, where there's pockets of that hometown, small downtown feel, but then you see these newer entities that have all these fun things that I would love to, you know, be a part of and take my future children to and things like that. And I think it's really neat when you do have those pockets of where you have the pockets of history and you have the pockets of new, and fusing them together. And so I would just love to see an Apex where it doesn't have to be one or the other, where we all can embrace what Apex has been for the last 150 years and will continue to be for the next 150 plus years. That's my hope. I would just really love to see the fusion of the two, and I think it could yield many great things, embracing new things, like when we brought in the Juneteenth Festival. That was new, that was something that hadn't been done before, but it's a piece of history. But it's fusing history with what's new. And so I would just love to see that go on a larger and grander scale as Apex progresses.